you're here for it. Why you wait? Do your dance. Hit the Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Do your dance. Hit the Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Saints fan. Hit the Sean Payton. Black and gold, I bleed that. Another Super Bowl ring, I need that. Look, we done heard it all, give me feedback. Then on Sundays, you know where I be at. Our stars align, baby, Zodiac. Ends on attacks by wide receivers and running backs. Yeah, we running up scores like a racetrack. And if you ask who, I'ma say we that. Oh, Saints fan, yeah, the whole nation, yeah. Go ahead, hit the Sean Payton. You know you're here for it. Why you wait? Do your dance. Hit the Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Do your dance. Hit the Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Saints fan. Hit the Sean Payton. Coach made a dance for the Nola babies. And it don't matter if you're 8 to 8. And we don't care if you're saying the crazy. But just how you want roast beef for gravy. Put your arms up.
Folks, hold on. Mic's on now. Welcome to Off the Dome, folks. Whoo! Man. I never thought I would see the day when Sean Payton retires. Well, technically, he didn't retire. He's stepping away. Stepping away from football. So we're going to get into that tonight. You know, welcome to Off the Dome Sports. My name is Sean Militello. If you see me on Twitter, I'm always tweeting. If you see me on Facebook, I'm always in the groups interacting. Feel free to interact with the comments. Give this post a like, share, and follow. I do follow back on all social media accounts, by the way, even though you can't follow on Facebook. But I will be friends with you on Facebook if you want to be friends on Facebook. So, this is going to be a show dedicated to Sean Payton. So, Sean Payton announces today that he is stepping away from coaching the Saints. Notice how you didn't say retirement. Stepping away. Stepping away. Keeping the doors open. He doesn't like using the word retirement. So, you know, when it first happened, when it first popped off, in Rappaport, you know, we shitted on this guy all week for tweeting about Sean Payton, talking about, we talk about this every year about Sean Payton. You know, we'll go to the Dallas Cowboys, we do this, we do that. You know? And in Rappaport, tweets out, maybe I want to say around 1 or 2 o'clock, because I was at work, but I saw the tweet that Sean Payton plans to step away for football, and it was not a joke. It was serious. And then he officially announces it today via press conference, had a 92-minute press conference. We already get some comments. Nick, former co-host of Off the Dome, I'm ready to drink the tears of the sheep. Now, Nick, on background story on Nick, he does not like Sean Payton. So this is something he has wanted for a long time now. Carly says maybe he wants another team. No, and we're going to get into that more in the show. We're just going to go through what has happened today. I didn't get much quotes of what he said. I didn't really want to, be honest with you. Nick says, nah, he was handcuffed. The Saints to that garbage contract. Fuck stepping away. He belongs to the streets now. And he says he's been a hater since 2014. So, you know, Nick, you always bring some good points about Sean Payton, and it is true. You know, he has a big ego, and it does get the best of him sometimes. And there's some points that are very valid about Sean Payton. In my opinion, it's kind of shell shocking to finally see him finally call it a quits, because I thought he would never do it. and not at least before making one last Super Bowl run. But it appears that Drew Brees last year was his last Super Bowl run. That was his last Super Bowl run, and there's a lot of people say that he was thinking about retiring last season. Last season. So he's no stranger to when it comes to talking about retiring, stepping away a game of football, taking a little break. Seems like he's been a little burnt out. When you go through 4 years, 5 years, being one of the top teams in the NFL, and you steadily, you got to choke. Now, 2018 is an outlier. Obviously, we know defense pass interference. That's a whole different topic. You don't want to go into as Saints fans. But, you go through that. You go through what he went through with the bounty gate, taking a year off. You go through after 2018 with the pass interference. They changed the rule for 1 year, and then they changed it right back. As you know, he was with the NFL committee. I guess I don't know what it's called. But he stepped down from that. So he's a guy that has voiced his frustrations, about the game. So he seems a little burnt out. Taysom Hill contract, that is. What do you mean by that? You mean the PI that happened because he couldn't hold on a lead beforehand? That is true. But, if that pass interference was called, that game's over. Like I said, that's another topic that has already happened that we want to bury the hatchet with. So, Sean Payton steps away. I want to get y'all's thoughts about it. Comment. I'll post your comment. You can even call in. And you can call in. Just if you do call in, just make sure you keep it respectful. John Suggs says, everyone says Payton going to the Cowboys head coach. In my opinion, I don't see it. He has said it was stressful these past few years. I think he's going to ESPN. Look, I don't think Sean Payton is going anywhere anytime soon to another team. I think if he would have went to the Cowboys, it would have happened already. It would have happened. It would have happened during those 7-9 seasons. We had 3 7-9 seasons back to back. I think if he would have went to the Cowboys, it would have happened already. Now, I think, after thinking about it, there is some possibility of Sean Payton returning in a year or two to coaching. Maybe he wants to coach again. And that's when I can see him going to a team like the Cowboys. Because what if Dennis Allen, and let's say if he does get hired as this new Saints head coach, what if Dennis Allen becomes a really good head coach and Sean Payton decides to come back? There's no longer a spot for Sean Payton here in New Orleans if Dennis Allen does well. I can see Sean Payton going into a front office role later down the line if he's still interested to be involved with football. You followed in the footsteps in his mentor, Bill Parcells, says something he did, and as well as Bill Walsh. Am I right? Might have got his first name wrong. 49ers head coach, legendary head coach for Joe Montana. That's something he did. He took a break from coaching, took a year or two off, and then he went to the front office. Ultimately, it didn't work out, though. Nick's going in. He said the same man whose offense scored 0 points in the first half of a playoff game the year before that, too. That was against the Vikings, the Minnesota Miracle. And a lot of people don't want to put the blame on Sean Payton. And that's where I do agree with you, Nick. And these past few years, the 4 years we had the chance to win a Super Bowl, a lot of people blamed it on Drew Brees. And they blamed it on his arm strength. And I didn't think that was fair to Drew Brees because there's been quarterbacks that have legendary quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl, but have been completely demolished of their athletic ability, and they had nothing left in them. For example, Peyton Manning. He won a Super Bowl his very last year in the league with the Broncos. That man was completely done for. Dude was fragile. After all them years playing in the NFL, all them surgeries he's had, dude was fragile. He was not good his last year with the Broncos. Now, for granted, he had a new coach that year, but that new coach helped him win a Super Bowl. And honestly, he didn't play for most of the year. He had Brock Osweiler playing. John Slug says, if he came back, do you think he would take a OC job? Nah, I'll be honest with you, man. Sean Payton is in the likes of Bill Belichick. Now, let me rephrase that. I do not think he's as good as Bill Belichick. Obviously, he's not as well rounded as Bill Belichick. If you're talking about offensively, I would give Sean Payton that. He's that good offensively. He's been that good over 15 years offensively. He's probably one of the best offensive coaches to ever coach the game. Obviously, later down the line, he's a big ego guy. He likes to make big plays here and there. He likes to be bold. And he got more bolder as the years went by, but he's arguably one of the best offensive coaches that has ever coached in the NFL, and we can't argue that. So he's like, in my opinion, like a poor man's Bill Belichick, and that's what he's looked upon as here as Saints fans. He is looked upon as Bill Belichick. He's a guy that's why I say, like, he would never leave for the Cowboys at this moment, because it's like he's just got too much power within the organization. He's kind of like an owner in a sense. He has a lot of say-so within the organization. You go to the Cowboys, you're going to have to deal with Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones had a lot of high-powered coaches. Jimmy Johnson, which that was his best friend, by the way. They went to college together in Arkansas. That did not work out. Because Jerry Jones was trying to tell him what to do. And Jimmy Johnson, obviously, is the coach. He knows what he's doing. And then Bill Parcells is also another big name hire, big ego guy that Jerry Jones has hired in the past. That ultimately didn't work out. No way he takes a lesser low. I agree, Nick. The stage was too big for Peyton in the biggest games, plain and simple. And honestly, if people want to label Drew Brees as that, they need to label Sean Payton as that. And that's certainly true. That's certainly true. You had teams, like, I'll be honest with you, 2018, I had the same feeling what I had back in 2009. That team was special. 2018 was special. That team should have been in the Super Bowl. That team should have won the Super Bowl. Now, we blame the defense PI, but, at the end of the day, we still lost the game. The Minnesota Miracle. Everybody wants to blame Marcus Williams for the missed tackle. But my thing is, why is he the only guy in the back of the field alone with Stephon Diggs? And then the year after 2018, I believe they played Minnesota again. That's when Kyle Rudolph was your game-winning touchdown. I think Kirk Cousins drove it right down the field in overtime. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Ryan says Hall of Fame coach. He is, and he's eligible to make the Hall of Fame in 2027. And that's why I think he might not ever coach again. Just because he's eligible in 2027. I don't know when Drew Brees is eligible, but there's a chance that they might, if it's not in the same year, it might be back to back. So John Suggs, this is a big message. So how bad is the Saints going to be the next few years? You're getting Winston back, which was balling this year till the injury. Someone said salary was going to be a big issue. So I honestly don't think the Saints are going to be bad at all. Are we playoff contenders as right now, as we speak? I can't say so right now because there's a lot of question marks we're gonna have to answer this offseason. A lot of pieces that were here this past season might not be here next season. So I don't think the Saints will be bad. Now you might see more, you know, 8 and 9, 9 and 8 seasons like you had this season. We'll see. It just depends on the type of off season they have. Winston was balling. And a lot of people say, well, the defense won those games. Well, the defense this past year damn near won nearly majority of the games. But I will say this, Jameis Winston is the main reason why. I wouldn't say the main reason. One of the main reasons why we went 5-2. And I think we don't go 5-2 without him. So I think Winston's now in play of being your starter next year because you don't have Sean Payton anymore. I don't think you're going to attract somebody, a big name offensive coach, to come here. Like a lot of people say, Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy. What makes you think Eric Bieniemy will want to come to New Orleans? I'm just saying, he's about to get the job in KC. Why do people think like? Why do you think he hasn't took a head coaching job yet? He has had multiple offers. There's no way a team hasn't offered him a head coaching job. It's because he's declining it. It's because he's going to be the next coach at Kansas City. It might not be next year, might be the year after that, but I can see a future where Andy Reid might retire after this season. Salary is never an issue with the Saints. It is a little harder this year. It has caught up with us, but there's ways around it. And Nick Underhill, I know some people like him, some people don't, but he does give you more perspective on the salary cap issue, and you can make you can make cuts to players' contracts without releasing them, and you be back over the cap. So we can make that up. It's just there's certain you're not going to be able to get a haul in free agency. You're not going to be able to go all in free agency. You might be able to land one or two, maybe just one big player that might maybe a number 2 wide receiver, but you're not going to get a haul. You're not going to get a haul, but we'll be back over the cap. We'll be back over the cap this offseason. I want to see him go through the front office too. I really do, and I would not mind that at all. Would not mind that at all. And honestly, this might sound a little corny. And I don't know if he has any desire to coach, but I wouldn't mind bringing Drew Brees as an analyst or even as in the front office. Just get some guys in there that obviously are were the heart and soul of the Saints, head coach and quarterback. That'd be possibly something that could happen. We'll see. Nick says John Suggs $70 million over the cap. Ryan says we save $100 million cap by renaming what certain bonuses are. Not too worried. And there you go. 2018 was crazy loaded. That is true. John Suggs. That's why I was asking, because contracts can always be negotiated. And what it is, a lot of times what they do is they add a lot of ghost years to people's contracts. The Taysom Hill contract is based off incentives. So you base these contracts off incentives, and then you can also add ghost years to spread out money. What they're doing is they keep pushing back the money. That's what it is. They push back the money year by year. And also you can renegotiate everybody's contract. Might be a little harder now. It might be a little harder now that Sean Payton is gone. As long as the defense core stays intact, the Saints will be respectable. Well, we will be respectable, but my thing is like I do think we do need to keep the defense intact, but I just this offense is worrying me, and we have a defensive coach. We're most likely gonna have a defensive coach as a head coach. So I mean, and you're gonna have Pete Carmichael running the offense first time since what 2013 or 14 when Sean Payton was suspended for a year. That's the last time Pete Carmichael has called plays, right? Called plays and ran an offense. Um, so I know Sean Payton has given him play calling duties before and took it away from him. So I don't know how Pete Carmichael is going to do as the full time offense coordinator. He's going to actually have to be offense coordinator, and I wonder what he's going to do with Jameis Winston. That's my biggest question: is can he continue to grow for Jameis Winston? And I think that's a lot. That's something you give Sean Payton credit for because that's what he's good at. He's a former quarterback himself. He knows how to play the position. He knows how the position should be played in today's game, and he's a big part of Jameis Winston's development. And can Pete Carmichael carry that over? I don't know. We'll see. Bienami. I don't know what that means. Bienami. Bienami. Um, but Sean Payton, we can't just sit here and say it's not a big enough loss. Um, I do think people are overreacting. I think, to the point where people are kind of calling him out. Calling him out is like basically calling him a quitter. The man can go. The man can. Man's been coaching for the Saints for 15 seasons. There's only a few head coaches they stay with a team that long. Bill Belichick, Tomlin. I think the next guy up would be Harbaugh with Baltimore or Pete Carroll with Seattle. Normally, coaches don't last that long, and Sean Payton obviously was a little burnt out. So I think he has the right to step away. Now, if we catch him in a year or two and go to another team, oh man, he's public enemy number one. I don't even care what he has done for us. I'm just saying, if he comes back in a year or two and goes to the Cowboys, I don't know, man. I don't know how I would be able to like the guy. That's just me. I don't know. I'm just saying, if he's going to really do this, he needs to step away, and the only team he needs to affiliate himself is the Saints. Simple as that. If not, then he's not going to. The Saints fans are not going to go over well with him coming back in a year or two because he does not like the word retirement. Notice that he didn't say retirement. He's not retiring. He's stepping away. Keeping all doors open. Now, I think he will go do some TV time, do some with Drew Brees, or maybe go to ESPN like John Suggs said. Who knows? Who knows where he would go? I heard somebody today say that Tony Romo apparently might be leaving, and Sean Payton might be a guy to replace him. I don't know where they got that from, but it doesn't sound too off. So just so many things Sean Payton can do. I just don't see him going to another team right now. If I do see him going to another team, it'll be another probably about 2 years. And honestly, that would be kind of fucked up in my opinion. It really would. Does this mean that is no chance for Russell? Yes, I would say so. Unless they bring in a guy that Russell Wilson likes as a head coach, I think there's really no chance for Russell Wilson. No chance at all. I don't think there was a chance with Sean Payton. Just putting it there. Eric Biemini. Trying to break down how to say that last name. Well, I'm sorry. So should you address Lattimore contract first? Because since if you don't, isn't extended by the start of new financial year on March 16th, he'll enter unrestricted free agent and leave a whopping 12.9 million on New Orleans books in dead money, matching what the team already owes retired quarterback Drew Brees in last year's salary cap capacity, Latavius Murray a combined 12.4 million. Now I couldn't tell you with all this contract stuff. I really couldn't. I couldn't break it down for you. I just know they make it work. They made it work for the past 4 years. You know, they might, they might, this might be the year where they might start to try to rebuild and maybe get over that cap the natural way, you know. Um, we'll see what happens. I'm not too sure on Marshall Lattimore's contract. I would have to look it up. I thought he was just extended, honestly. But Marshall Lattimore right now wouldn't be our concern this offseason. Marcus Williams would be more of a concern since he is a free agent. See. I'm looking at the contract for Marshall Lattimore. I thought he just signed a 5 year, like a 5 year extension. It says he's under contract to 2026. Um, I don't know. Was never going to happen before this, but it's less than zero at this point. Exactly. It was never going to happen. Might be coming back here. Okay. Yeah, they extended Marshall Lattimore this season. Right. He just got 5 years, 100 million. That's what I thought. I didn't know what he was saying. But I mean, we cut Latavius Murray to save about 3 million in cap this season. That's why we made the trade. It kind of opened up the trade for Bradley Roby. That's why we ended up cutting Latavius Murray. Honestly, we could have used Latavius Murray this year, and that's a hole that we're gonna have to fill this offseason. This is a team that, first and foremost, a lot of people are not really not really paying attention to or really putting at the top of the board because we have addressed it in the draft for so many years in the first, especially in the first round, and that's the offensive line. You got Terrence Armstead. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to be in the Saints uniform next year. He's about to get the bag. And I think a team that he might go to, maybe like the Cincinnati Bengals, where they need offensive line help. And apparently there's a market for Terrence Armstead. There's a market for left tackles, period. So I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's coming back. You're probably going to have to move over Ryan Ramczyk to left tackle. And then you're going to have to worry about who's going to start at right tackle. And you're going to have to worry about, is Cesar Ruiz going to be your guy at right guard? Dude was pretty bad this year. So bad that we forgot about Andrews Pete. And Andrews Pete's not as bad as we say he is. He's serviceable, but he's bad at times. And the fact that Cesar Ruiz had a decent rookie year, wasn't great, wasn't bad, had a decent rookie year, I feel like he fell off a cliff. I don't understand why he was so bad this year. I really don't understand it. He made Eric McCoy look bad. He made Eric McCoy look bad at times because Eric McCoy had to cover a lot of stuff that Ruiz missed. It's probably the reason why McCoy missed a couple games due to injury because McCoy's over here doing Ruiz's job. So that's something you're going to have to look at. You're going to have to look at a tackle. You're going to have to maybe look at some guards. And then second, you're going to have to see who your quarterback is. Jameis Winston's still not a guarantee. We say we want Jameis Winston back. I want Jameis Winston back. I got a Jameis Winston jersey in my closet. I definitely want him back. But he's not a guarantee. He could get a big money contract. Not saying he will. And I haven't seen anywhere where he has gained that interest. But, I feel like based off what we saw in the 7 games he played, I think he's shown enough. I think he showed enough to earn a starting gig either here or somewhere else. And I think you're looking at $25 million a year, the minimum for him. $20 million if you're lucky and Jameis Winston's being nice. All right, we got some more comments. Okay, John Suggs meant Armstead. He didn't mean Lattimore. He meant Armstead. Um, I'll be honest with you. I just answered. I'm sorry, John Suggs. I just answered. Armstead's not going to be in the Saints uniform next year. I highly doubt it. We just can't afford him. We can't afford him. Marcus Williams is probably the top priority as far as re-signing one of our free agents. Marcus Williams is definitely the guy we have to target and bring him back for sure. If that's on a franchise tag or not, we just need him back. He's a very important piece to that secondary. A secondary that's probably one of the strongest in the leagues, and you got to give a lot of credit for Dennis Allen. And this is why I think he should be the head coach. I think Dennis Allen should be the next head coach because you look at it, people want to give Sean Payton the coach of the year talks for the season he had for over 60 different starters this season, but it was the defense carrying this team, right? The defense. Last time I checked, Sean Payton doesn't coach defense. Dennis Allen, if he was a head coach this season, he would be a coach of the year candidate just based off his defense this season. Sean Payton doesn't go 9-8 without Dennis Allen. Just saying right there, I think Dennis Allen has improved as a coach over the years. He was a former head coach with the Raiders. He was obviously a coach with us during the Super Bowl years under Greg Williams when he was the defense coordinator. He's very familiar with the city, team. Obviously, he's still a coach for us. He just interviewed with the Chicago Bears today. A lot of people say we might lose him to the Bears. I think he's going to coach the Saints. I think the Saints, I would rather coach the Saints than I would coach the Bears. And I know the Bears got Justin Fields. They got Khalil Mack on the defensive side of the ball. But it's the Bears. And why would you want to pass up a promotion with a team that you had success with as a defensive coordinator and you know the players there? I don't understand why you would pass that up for the Bears job. I know I heard some people say Dennis Allen's not a guarantee. He might go to the Bears. No. If the Saints offer him the head coaching job, he's going to take the Saints. Now, as far as the rest of the staff, Pete Carmichael, he's going to be your offensive coordinator. He's going to be your offensive coordinator. He's going to be your true offensive coordinator. I know he's listed as the offensive coordinator, but Sean Payton's been your offensive coordinator for the past 15 years. He's going to finally take over the keys to this offense. And we're going to finally see what he can do as offense coordinator. He's a guy that has been looked at as a head coach, but he's never really been fully viewed as a head coaching candidate. And honestly, I don't know if he wants to be a head coach. I think that's why he's been under the shadow of Sean Payton for so long. It's kind of similar to situation with Eric Bieniemy with the Kansas City. So Ryan Ramczyk. So I'm glad he brought it up because I do believe. Let's look at his contract. If that's what, I'm not too sure. I believe we extended him. Yeah, we extended him in June of 2021. So we 5-year, $96 million extension. He most likely will be moved to left tackle. I'm not too sure if he would stay right tackle if Armstead is gone. Got to bring back Davenport. Well, Davenport, he's picked up his 5th-year option. He's got 1 year left on his contract next season. I don't know if you sign him to extension. I think this is going to be a contract year for him. He ultimately has to stay healthy. It's been proven when he stays healthy for a consistent amount of time, he's been a force. He's been an actual force. But he has also shown that when he's been a force, he'll go get injured, and then he comes back, and then he's completely shit. Honestly, if it was my decision, I would have chose Trey Henderson over Marcus Davenport, and I would have traded Davenport away. That's just my opinion. Now, people say, well, you couldn't afford Trey Henderson. If we wanted to, we could. It would have been some cuts in some other areas, But Trey Henderson has been a beast this season. Has been a beast. He's in the Pro Bowl. I know the Pro Bowl don't mean anything, but Trey Hendrickson, in the Pro Bowl, I don't understand how people even know who Trey Henderson is besides Cincinnati Bengals and New Orleans Saints fans. He's been that good. Gaining he's been gaining some more popularity as more the better play he has. So Marcus Davenport, contract year, it's going to be a big year for him. Now, Peyton Turner is his potential replacement. So if we were not to re-sign Marcus Davenport after next season, Peyton Turner is your guy there. Now, what do you do with Cam Jordan? I don't know. Maybe you work out some contract details, keep him on the team, because it seems like we're going to need a guy like Cam Jordan to stick around now. And he had a strong finish to the season. First half of the season, he was doo-doo. Let's just say it like that. He was doo-doo. But he finished the season off strong, and he was doo-doo in the pass rush. I'm not gonna say everywhere else. I mean, he's a good run defender. He's always been more of a run defender, defense end more than anything. But he's also been a good pass rusher in the past. But he wasn't that great for half the season. But at the end of the season, he turned it on. So can he carry that over the next season? And honestly, we might need him. Those are the type of guys we might need moving on, because you don't have Sean Payton there. You're going to have to keep the locker room intact, and that's the most important thing we have to realize here this offseason. Keep your leaders intact. Make your leaders feel comfortable about this situation. What does Demario Davis think about this situation? Cam Jordan. You seen Cam Jordan tweeting about it earlier today. What do you think Jameis Winston thinks about it? He's a guy that obviously idolizes Sean Payton. He idolizes Drew Brees. Do you think he's going to want to come back here? What kind of relationship he has with Pete Carmichael? How does Michael Thomas feel about the situation? Michael Thomas is a guy that caused a lot of drama this offseason. And honestly, Saints were to blame a little bit for that. But how do you think he feels about the situation? No more Drew Brees, no more Sean Payton. Am I going to be able to thrive in this offense? And Alvin Kamara, I think it's starting to become where we're going to need a number 2 guy behind him. Sure, you got Mark Ingram. But he's not the same Mark Ingram like he was when he was with us in the past. He's obviously, I know we signed him an extension after we traded for him. He's a guy that's a good depth at that running back position, brings good experience, but he's not your number 2 guy at that running back position. So what do you think Alvin Kamara thinks of this situation? It's just, there's so many little details that go into this, and I think that's why this next head coaching hire has to be within the coaching staff. I think you got 4 guys. Dennis Allen, number 1. If he doesn't accept it, Pete Carmichael, Ryan Nielsen, Chris Richard. Those are your 4 guys that could be head coach of the Saints right now. So we'll see what happens. I honestly don't know what to think about Sean Payton leaving. It's been hard to imagine the Saints without Sean Payton. I mean, it really is. And he's a guy that I've heavily criticized over the years. And I have agreed with some of Nick's points. And but the thing is, he was never going to get fired. He's basically, if he wanted to, he can coach here a lifetime with the Saints. He could probably have 5 losing seasons back to back and still not get fired. I don't know. He's just that type of coach. He's that type of coach to this organization. And see him step away like that, and I know a lot of people was bashing for him, quitting on his team, leaving us in a bad spot, and I understand that. But if he wanted to step away, he could step away. It does leave me a little bad feeling inside about it. Something's not right about it. Something's going. I feel a little, I don't know, uneasy about it. Like something's fishy going on, and the fact that he says he's just stepping away. stepping away and not retiring. You know, um, Gail Benson says he hates the word retirement. So what does that mean? Like, is he going to come back to coach? He's not that old. I mean, let's look up his age. I mean, he can't be that old. And for the most part, he looks pretty healthy. His kids are growing up. It's not like, he has little kids. I know he has a new wife. He's only 58 years old. Bill Belichick's 69. Pete Carroll's 70 years old. I didn't know that. But I don't know. I don't know. Feel like Jerry Jones is already in his pocket or ear. Maybe so. Maybe so. But, it's going to be a year or two before Jerry could probably land him. I don't think Sean Payton. It's too fresh. I don't think Sean Payton would. And first and foremost, Sean Payton's under contract till 2024. So whoever he decides the go to, or whatever team that decides that wants him, they're gonna have to trade us something for him. They're gonna have to give up something for him until after 2024. So that is that. I don't know if teams would be interested in doing that. Will Sean Payton be interesting? I know one thing. If Sean Payton goes to TV, he's going to make more than what Jerry Jones offers him. There's some big money in TV right now. It's big money. Big money. And honestly, TV can offer him more money than Jerry Jones, because I don't know if Jerry Jones would be willing to spend that much for a head coach. For a rich guy like that, for a palace he has in the stadium, he's a guy I don't know if would spend that much for a head coach, because ultimately he's not going to bow down to a head coach. Jerry's going to do what Jerry wants to do because it's his money. It's his team. He's always going to have to say so. He's never going to attract a coach like that. I just don't see it. Just don't see it at all. But Sean Payton gone. What's next? It's going to be really interesting to see how the Saints perform without Sean Payton. A lot of people are already counting us out. A lot of people counting us out. Does Tom Brady retire? I think if he does, that makes it a lot easier on us. Makes it a lot easier on us. If Tom Brady retires, I don't see I think the Buccaneers would be in a worse situation than us. Because if Tom retires, there's going to be no more Gronk. No more Gronk. I doubt Chris Godwin comes back. There's no OJ Howard. I believe Ronald Jones is a free agent. Not too sure about Leonard Fournette. I mean, there's a lot of guys that's not going to come back if Tom Brady retires. Not to mention, they're going to lose Brian Leftwich. He's going to go be a head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Todd Bowles just interviewed to be the head coach for the Raiders. So I don't know. Buccaneers might have it worse if Tom Brady retires. But if Tom Brady doesn't retire, I don't know. They might be the king of the NFC South again. So, but if he does, you're talking about a wide open NFC South. And I thought the Panthers were going to be a team, upcoming young team. The Panthers are a team that I thought the Buccaneers were before Bruce Arians. With Jameis Winston, his younger self, Mike Evans, I feel like they're young and up and coming. And that's what I thought the Panthers were going to be this year. They're going to be young, up and coming. They're going to be a tough team to beat. Turns out they weren't. McCaffrey, always injured. He's a big part of their offense. Obviously, Matt Rule doesn't seem like it's working out. They haven't also found a quarterback. Falcons, they show some fight. But, what do you do with Matt Ryan? Is he going to be your quarterback till he retires? Who knows? So the Saints can very much win the division. They can very much win the division. They can still dominate the division, with Dennis Allen as head coach. I think you just got to go down the list of what you need to do to make this roster competitive. Offensive line needs to be fixed. Who's your quarterback? Who's going to be your weapons for your quarterback? Can you keep intact your defense? You're going to be able to. Are you going to bring back Marcus Williams? Are you going to be able to bring back PJ Williams? PJ Williams was a little sleeper this season for us. Came in, I believe Chauncey Gardner Johnson was hurt a little bit, filled in that gap. He's a guy that can play multiple positions in that secondary. Is he a guy that you'll be able to bring back on a cheap? Or will teams notice what he has done this year and sign him to a bigger contract? Little things like that. I do know maybe we can look for a guy next to Demario Davis. I know Pete Warner, we drafted him in the second or third round. He's supposed to be that guy. He has looked good. But I would like a more proven guy. Do you bring back Quan Alexandra and you just do it by committee, or you go get a guy that can really be just as good as Demario Davis and you have two attacking linebackers? Or do you get another guy to pair up with David Onyemata? Because David Onyemata with Sheldon Rankins a few years back was a good duo. And honestly, you got to give Ryan Nielsen some credit. He's a guy that could be a head coach one day, and he could be your next defense coordinator. Now, they could make Chris Richard the next defense coordinator, and they could keep Ryan Nielsen as your associate head coach. Who knows what's going to happen? But he has done a phenomenal job. He's the D-line coach as well. He's done a phenomenal job with that D-line for what he had to work with. I mean, especially when during David Onyemata's suspension, rotating guys in and out. I couldn't even name you the guys they had up in the middle. Malcolm Roach, Shai Tuttle, Ringo from UL. I don't remember. So Carly says he agrees with Troy. So, but anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Yeah, Sean Payton no longer the coach of the New Orleans Saints. I don't know how to feel about it. Anyways, guys, make sure you give us a like, follow, and share. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And honestly, I just do shows whenever news pop off. But I might try to get back into things. We'll see. But I'll catch y'all next time.